let alone be a double champ. So to have that place in history, you know, long after I'm gone, people are going to look and go, "Oh, first EuroContinental champ, D'Lo Brown." That's the coolest part.
And we are back for another casual conversation with the classic. I got a very special guest today. Take me back to my childhood. It's a privilege and honor to have you on the show. None other than D'Lo Brown, the host of the Lowdown podcast on Podcast Heat. Check out his Pro Wrestling Tee store, all that fun stuff. But how are we doing today?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you having me on, and let's chop it up and have some fun.
This is super cool for me. Like, just a quick little background. Like, I've been running the Wrestling Classic since 2014, and I initially was throwing up classic photos and clips and stuff. And I can tell you, there hasn't been a single year that people that are lapsed fans, because I get a lot of the lapsed fans that haven't watched for a minute, but anything D'Lo Brown goes up, they're like, that head shake, that's the best thing. We remember D'Lo Brown, but what about D'Lo Brown? So it's great to have you on it. The fans love you is my point of that story.
I appreciate it. I consider myself extremely lucky at that I did something that resonates with the people so many years later. In all the guys in wrestling, to still be remembered for so long is freaking awesome.
No, it's amazing. Let me ask you this, because I ask everybody this, being the OG wrestling fan, and I feel like it's gonna be fun with you. I always like it when I get to talk to someone that's been in the industry a while back, because your memories are going to be different. But what are your earliest memories of professional wrestling? What do you remember seeing and be like, that made me a fan?
A bunch of stuff. Thinking about seeing Dusty Rhodes laying on the mat, bleeding, reaching towards the TV, watching the Road Warriors walk out, seeing a young Ron Simmons, seeing guys like Ernie Ladd on TV, that stuff is in my mind, in my memory. That's burned in the back of my brain. And that's the thing that made me become a fan, that still has me a fan till this day, because I appreciate the art, the skill. And then later on, I realized the dedication it took to become a high-level professional wrestler. It's man, I've been in love with this since I was 9 years old. Now, 20 years after I'm dead, you'll still read on my tombstone, he loves pro wrestling.
No, and you've been doing it. You've been a part of it no matter what. We're gonna get into it. This entire time you've had. I don't think people realize you've literally still been part of it this entire time, whether it's backstage, on screen, whatnot. Let me ask though, I'm curious now, were you was it Jim Crockett Promotions? Was it Mid-South? Was it Georgia? What were you watching?
It was the little of both. Okay, so I grew up, full disclosure, I didn't grow up in Chicago, I grew up in New Jersey. So I grew up right between Philadelphia and New York. Yeah. So lucky enough, I got television stations from both. So out of the Philadelphia area, we would get Mid-South, Jim Crockett Promotions, and Florida Championship Wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
Out of New York, we would get the Saboltis and IWCCW. We would get Mid-South Wrestling. We'd get Florida. I got lucky enough that I was in an app, between Saturday morning and late Saturday night, I could watch about 10 hours of wrestling.
That's insane.
Between the two cities. So I got all of it. I've seen everything from Continental to Mid-South to USWA to AWA, everything. I was really, really lucky.
That's a good spot to be in. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, we were right in that little right there.
Yeah, that's similar to what happened to the rest of us when we got older. Because I'm I remember, obviously there's WCW, there's WWF, and then I remember waking up on a Saturday morning and we had some random Seattle, Chicago channel, and I found Ring of Honor, and I'm oh, this is interesting. What is this?
Yeah, isn't it such a great surprise when you don't anticipate seeing some weird little small independent somewhere, and all of a sudden there it is on your TV. You're like, holy hell, I hit the lottery.
Yeah, there's more wrestling that I didn't know about. This is awesome, especially when you're a kid.
Yes.
Let's just, before we move on to your career, just the last question about you as a fan. Who would you say, you can either put it in terms of just your personal, or maybe who influenced you, but who are your top 5 then?
Oh, see,
and leave modern day wrestling out of it, or who?
No, I won't even go.
Let's talk old school. Yeah. Let's go old school.
In no particular order. The Great Muta.
Yeah.
Kurt Hennig, Ron Simmons, um, Arn Anderson, and then I'll take a combination of the Road Warriors, like guys like that, just larger than life characters, and guys who just, once again, later on, you realize how good they were in case of like Arn and Kurt Hennig, how good they were at their craft. Like those are the guys that really hooked me. I didn't get into the Hogans and the Flairs. I wasn't the flashy guy. I was the grunt worker guy. And those are the guys that I appreciated.
Out of all the names you said Arn, the Road Warriors, Ron Simmons, and you said Kurt Hennig, which is fun because that's and Hennig too. Like there's some crossover, but you've shared the locker room with all those guys. Besides Muda, out of all those guys,
I've shared the. I've wrestled Muda.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I've been in the ring with Muda, so it's surreal because I'll take you into the locker room. Yeah. It's very surreal because you've got to maintain this professional exposure on your face. But imagine looking across and you're having a conversation about to go wrestle with a guy that you watched on TV, and you're like, oh, damn, if I could ever get a ticket to come see him, let alone I'm in the ring with him. In the case of, Kurt Hennig in the locker room and Ron Simmons and Arn Anderson and the Great Muta, it's like, and even the Road Warriors, like it's to be that 9 or 10 or 12-year-old kid looking across at these guys going, holy hell, this can't be real.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's I can't tell you how blessed and lucky I am to have lived this life. And as the wrestling fan it's in me, he's giggling every time. Every day he's giggling.
No, that's awesome. I was just thinking about that. That's actually really cool. So then you got to wrestle Muta. Obviously you worked with Ron, you worked with the Road Warriors. You and Kurt Hennig were in the same locker room.
Yes.
That's insane. Let me ask you this then. Let's take it to your beginning days in wrestling. Any memories of being Ace the Animal? What's a fond memory you have of that specific period?
So I can tell you May 7th, 1994 was Ace the Animal's first match at the Monster Factory in Clement, New Jersey. And I wore this gold shiny outfit with zebra print on it. And I remember walking out the first day. Ironically, on my first show, X-Pac was the main event.
Wow.
And I remember walking out nervous as hell, crazy nervous until I got in the ring, and then it felt like riding a bike.
Yeah.
And I wrestled a kid named Dave Dutch. I can remember everything about it. We wrestled to a no contest. And Ace the Animal was that persona that was the high school football me. I was Ace the Animal on the field. So it was an easy transition to give that my first name in wrestling.
How important was it for you prior to, like, obviously you pursued wrestling, made the decision, you started doing it, you started training, you learned the fundamentals, but for you, and now you probably know it so much more as a producer and everything as well, but like how much was it for you to like, okay, I got to somewhat, because you grew up watching wrestling, like come up with a character. What's my personality?
And that's a hard one too, because as you break in, you're like, I'm gonna have this, in your mind, everybody's got their wrestling character they're gonna be.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first got to Larry Sharp, he goes, think of what you want your wrestling character to be. And I go, okay, yeah, I got it. He goes, in 6 months, you won't be that. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, we all have an idea of what we want to be. And then we go in there and we start rolling around and wrestling, and you get to see what your real body language is in the ring. And that's what morphs that persona. And so I think I wanted to be the dark assassin, some mask, because I was influenced by the Great Muta. So I wanted to be this masked ninja. And okay, at 6'3", 350 pounds, I wasn't gonna be no masked ninja because I couldn't sneak around anywhere. Okay, so then it moved to being a brawling, brooding type, and then it became more of an athletic big man. But yeah, no, as you grow in wrestling, your persona, your character starts coming out.
No, that's awesome. That makes sense, because it's always like, I feel like now that's sometimes a thing that I feel like now everyone wants to be able to do the moves, but not everybody creates a character has that mindset. So I'm thinking back in your day, like, was that the mindset you guys had? Because it was a lot of character based. It was watching the promos.
It was it was less about the moves because the moves weren't that important back then. It was more
Yeah.
about character and matches.
Yeah.
And wrestling goes is cyclical because
Yeah.
after Steve Austin, everybody wanted to be the badass.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to be that tweener who wore jean shorts, right?
Yeah.
And then you fast forward and everybody wanted to be the Undertaker. Everybody wanted to be the badass no one could hurt. And I always liked being that chicken shit heel.
Yeah.
Like, I always wanted to be the Tully Blanchard who was backpedaling like this. Like, that's who I always wanted to be. So it goes cyclical. Whoever's on top, everybody wants to be badass Roman Reigns now.
Yeah. Well, now because of that, we're back to the everybody wants the story. We went through a phase of everybody wanted really good wrestling, and I feel like we just got spoiled for like the last 10 years of really good wrestling on a national level. That everyone's like, okay, the wrestling's great, we get it. Who like give us something to care about the matches again?
And that was like, the thing too. Is like when it all became about wrestling, you saw ratings went down because pro wrestling is a combination of character and matches, not one or the other. And if you're lacking from one, it's a shortfall on the other, ratings go down. If you look back at Attitude, when ratings were at its highest, you had character and wrestling. And I think that's the perfect combination.
For sure. And to reach a broad audience, I think it's that the characters that people like. I can sit here and tell you that Macho Man Randy Savage is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And I liked him all through and through. But I'm a 90s kid, so I didn't live through the 80s. I lived through tapes of the 80s because my older brother. And I thought like 1999 Macho Man was great too. And then I go back now as an adult, I'm like, oh, he couldn't move as well. Like he was old. But it didn't matter to me because he was a larger than life character.
Because you look past a lot of things when there's a character you love.
Yeah.
I love Steve Austin, but his boots in the corner were some of the worst boots in the corner, but no one cared because it was Steve Austin.
Yeah, 100%. Talking about characters, though, then you got to work in Smoky Mountain with the gangsters.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
AJPW. Tell me how it was working with New Jack and them and that whole experience working with Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies.
Well, I will tell you, like, I will say that Smoky Mountain was like getting my college degree in wrestling. Because I shared a locker room with the Rock and Roll Express, the Heavenly Bodies, Tracy Smothers, Dirty White Boy, all the Armstrong clan. And then there's Jim Cornette helping you teach you at promos. I mean, it was like going to Harvard of wrestling. And then I get dropped in, and my partner is New Jack, and I love New Jack. But man, some of the things he used to say on the microphone would even run chills down my spine because I don't know how we got away with 90% of the things he said.
That's amazing.
What's up, everybody? This is RB here from Rain City Toys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Wrestling Classic. Check out the TWC shows that Justin and I do weekly. Also subscribe to Just Yappin'. Justin and I talk about wrestling and everything else that we feel like talking about. If you guys are looking for figures, hit me up. Got some old school legends right here like Rick Martel. Find some of the newer guys like CM Punk. Got some Stone Cold Steve Austin. Anything you're looking for, just hit me up. Follow me on Instagram, Rain City Toys. Hit me up on TikTok, Rain City Toys. Kind of falling behind Justin here on some followers, so let's get those subscriber count up. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And you guys go back to the show, and hope you guys enjoy.
Do you have a special moment or match from that Smoky Mountain run that stands out to you the most, or?
Easily, it was the 6-man match that me, Jack, and Stalpa had against Tracy Smothers and the Undertaker. It was 3-on-2, and it was the Undertaker was gracious enough to come down for 2 days. It was in Johnson City, Tennessee, and Pikeville, Kentucky, and just to be that new in the business, and I'm standing there wrestling with the Phenom, the Undertaker. It puts in perspective that like that was the night I realized I could do this at the next level.
Yeah,
Smokey was great, but I had aspirations of I can make it to a national company. Is because of nights like that where I was like, okay, I'm good enough to do this.
Did the Undertaker remember you when you eventually got signed to the main roster?
Yes,
of WWE and you guys saw each other.
Yes, he did, and he said to me that first night, he goes, "I knew you'd get here."
Yeah.
So that was one of the things. He goes, "I knew you'd get here," and even that night after the match in Johnson City, Tennessee, he sat me down and we're going over post match, And he goes, stick with this. I think you've got what it takes to go ahead and make it. And that's what really, okay, now I'm starting to think that way. Because before if I'd have made it to Smokey and my career would have ended, I would have been happy as a lark. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
But it was nuts like that once again started putting that fuel on the fire, going, okay, there's something more for me. There's a little bit more left to go.
It's a life, right? Where it's like you think you hit a point, you're like, oh, I'm good where I'm at. And then you get a breadcrumb or something. You're like, oh, maybe I should keep going, or there's something else. Like that words of affirmation probably gave you was like, oh, okay, maybe I can make it there. Maybe there's
good analogy, because that breadcrumb made me starving.
Yeah.
And it made me starving for more, where I didn't know I needed to eat.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a clue I wanted to eat until that breadcrumb made me go, okay, let's go.
Yeah. This happened to me a ton. I'm like, I don't know about this interview thing. And the next thing you know, I get an interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm like, oh, I guess I can do interviews. I guess,
and life is amazing. Like, we're not talking wrestling, but we're talking life.
Yeah, life. This is life, yeah.
This is life we're talking. That's how cool it is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a life thing. That's how that happens. And it's also good to always sit back and think about, like, what you've done and be like, okay, what I've done is pretty cool. So it's like, I can do more cool things. Like, I didn't even expect myself to do this, so I could probably do more. So who knows, right? Best advice you got from Jim Cornette, obviously polarizing figure on the internet, but one of the greatest minds of professional wrestling, and obviously just a wealth of knowledge in an encyclopedia of professional wrestling. So what's one of the best things you got from him?
Best things was keep your eyes open, your mouth and your mouth shut. Keep your eyes and ears open. Listen, learn. You're going to be around the best in the business. And if you can't learn, that's a you problem.
Yeah. Which I think is fair advice, because it's true.
It's true. And once again, it's life lessons. Keep your mouth shut, eyes and ears open, and you'll get ahead in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I'm old enough to remember when you first started showing up with the Nation of Domination. And you were just in the background in a suit with the rest of the crew. Mm-hmm. You were with I forget the name of the rappers right now, the two white guys. The rappers.
PG-13.
PG-13. You were with them. You were part of the crew. They had the lawyer, and like we didn't know. At that time, I was a kid. I was like 7, 8 years old. I didn't know you were a wrestler. Didn't know where you came from. I was like, who's this guy? Didn't even connect the dots. Like, hey, he's bumping around. Maybe he's a wrestler too. Like, I'm the kid. It was all real to me. So like, what was the plan to you for you? Like, did you know? Like, was it like, did they already know you're going to be part of the nation? Did you know you're going to be active, or was it like we're going to bring you in as a manager to bulk up the crew? Like, what was the initial plan?
Okay, so this is a two-folded question. So when you remember Clarence Mason, the lawyer, and all the other guys wearing suits and ties, none of those guys were trained wrestlers. They were all Clarence Mason's fraternity brothers. Yeah. So here you've got the nation getting a ton of heat on baby faces, and the baby faces can't touch them back because none of those guys can bump. Yeah. So because of my connection with Jim Cornette and Jim Ross, I had made a phone call to Cornette. He had offered me to come up to New York to be part of Shotgun Saturday Night. And I was just going to go out there to be the first guy to get bumped by the baby faces. That was the Ahmed Johnson Pro Roll Plunge on top of the Lincoln. Yeah.
And people haven't seen it. That clip was awesome. I remember it like being in the Survivor Series commercial, and I'm like, wait, because I think it happened like it didn't happen like on Raw, I don't think.
No, Shotgun Saturday Night.
So like I didn't see it when it actually happened. I didn't see when it actually, but I remember seeing the clip all the time. I'm like, wait a minute, that's so cool. But yeah, go on. Sorry. Yeah.
So I was brought in to be the bump guy for the nation, so they can get heat on me. And as we're going around the country, then they started putting me in matches and gained more and more trust in house show matches. I was going out there involved in finishes and all that stuff. And as their trust grew with me, then they were like, okay, we can elevate this kid up from just being in the background. Let's bring him into the foreground now. And Ron was instrumental in this because he saw a lot in me, and he put a lot in me too in terms of knowledge. And once again, if Smoky Mountain's where I got my college degree, being next to Ron Simmons is where I got my PhD. Like, that's where I really learned wrestling. And because of Ron's recommendations and Jerry Briscoe, who was the house show agent, they decided to trust me more and make me a feature character. And as they say, the rest is history.
It's crazy because as years go by now, especially in the last like 10, 15 years, you hear a lot more of like the people Ron Simmons helped out. You start hearing the stories more like, and it's in like, you know, the Rock's doing lines that he would just be saying in the car and using them on TV, or like he helped this person over, get this guy that. What was the biggest thing you learned from Ron?
Patience. Pay attention to everything that's going on. And when you get out there, when you get 2 minutes, make it the most important 2 minutes anyone's ever seen, because you don't know if you're not guaranteed the next 2 minutes. And to go into full disclosure of Ron, and I use this term, he is like the Don of professional wrestling. Like he has mentored, trained, helped thousands of wrestlers. He has inspired millions, but he's physically helped thousands. And I wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for Ron Simmons sitting there talking to me. Yeah. And I owe Ron more than anything I could ever say. And in fact, he's the reason why I like to give back now as an agent producer, is because if I can be half the inspiration that Ron Simmons was, then my entire career was a success. If I can be half of what Ron Simmons was. Which
I just as a fan now find very interesting, because maybe that is something those of you that got to work around him kind of like you paid it forward. You're producing the stuff. Mm-hmm. We always hear these stories of Mark Henry putting people on and helping people. Maybe that's something that kind of trickled down by sitting in a car with Ron a lot and just hearing stories and getting advice.
It's not by accident. It's very much inspired, because I'll speak for Mark on this. We both enjoy walking in the shadow of Ron Simmons, and we hope we can live up to the shoes that he wears.
Yeah. Let me ask you about that. I was going to ask you about that later, but we'll ask about it now. How was it teaming with Mark Henry? There was a point you two were the dynamic duo of the Nation, and even after the Nation kind of started doing their own thing, you were still the two of you. You were there for his transition of being Mark Henry to sexual chocolate.
Yes.
How was it? How was your relationship with Mark Henry, and how was it teaming with him?
Here's the thing is, Mark and I, when we got put in the Nation together, slowly became best friends.
Yeah.
So what you saw in the ring was just an extension of what we were in the car, at the hotel, in the restaurants. Like we were just chopping up, cutting it up, and we got to do it in front of a camera and for the world. So till this day, I could call Mark right now, and we talk about everything from family to football to food, anything. That's my dog. He's the brother I never got to have, and the one I always wanted. And Mark he's part of my family, and I'm part of his. I've sat at his mama's table and had dinner. So it was just easy to be in the ring with him, because we were just two friends goofing off.
Yeah, which is the best sometimes, right? Let me ask you two more Mark Henry questions. One, how happy were you and impressive was it for you to see? Because we've heard the stories, Jim Ross's podcast, whatnot, that when they brought Mark in, he wasn't really getting it right away. And they were kind of worried because they gave him a fat contract because he had the background. How cool is it for you as a friend of his to see his growth, eventually win the world heavyweight title and accomplish everything he did eventually accomplish?
It was like seeing your brother win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
To watch Mark's growth and his path from it's almost like he was dropped into Japan but didn't know Japanese, and to watch him struggle with the language and then to slowly put it together to one day being proficient and fluent and going out there. And at one point Mark was the biggest heel on the planet. You know, the House of Pain, he was the biggest heel on the planet. Yeah. And to watch that growth was amazing, awe-inspiring. And I told him more times than I can count that I consider myself lucky to have a front row seat for his career.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then the second part was his son. His son's wrestling now. How cool is that?
Well, right now, Jacob is playing football at the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But when he's done playing ball, he's gonna be Mark Henry 2.0. And Jacob right now, and Mark won't admit this, but Jacob is stronger than Mark was at the exact same age, which is scary.
No, I've met him. I've met him a couple of times. He's a big kid, man. I was like,
And
I thought he was older than he was. I thought,
he's not even 21 yet.
Yeah, I thought he was like 25. He's a big kid. I was like,
He's a big boy, and here's the thing: he's got Mark's charisma,
yeah,
and he's 100 steps ahead of where Mark was in terms of being in front of the crowd, because he got to grow up watching his dad be there. And okay, this is what I want to do. So he's going to be such a natural. Wait till that second generation steps in the ring.
yeah.
He's gonna destroy people.
No, I'm intrigued. I'm excited to see it. I saw him and I was at a busted open party and they told me like, oh no, he wants to wrestle. I was like, clearly he should.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about the rest of the nation really quickly. The Godfather, I've got to meet and hang out with the Godfather a ton. Give me a good memory about the Godfather.
I will tell. Okay, since weed is fully legal these days,
Yeah.
I will tell you one time. The first time I ever smoked with Godfather, I got so high, I lost an entire day. Wrestled him in a match in Toronto at Sky Dome, crossed the border twice, and I have no recollection of the whole day. That's how high Godfather got me. I have refused to smoke with him ever since that day.
I don't know what he gave you, but that's something else. Let's talk about Owen Hart. Obviously, you got to Owen was part of the nation. That's when you guys mixed it up. It was no more like the Black Panther type of movement situation. It became Owen's in here. Enough is enough. Give me a good Owen Hart. So, as a Canadian kid, loving the Hearts, a big Owen Hart fan.
Owen, we used to call Mr. White Folks because he was in the nation to make white folks mad. But I tell the same story every time I talk about Owen. Owen was, whether you were older than him or not, he was your baby brother. So everyone protected Owen because that's how special he was. And my favorite story to tell about Owen is he and I are wrestling one day. And I don't know why, but some reason I'm beating the life out of him. I'm clubbing him with everything. I'm hurting Owen. And I can feel it. And every time I hit him, I'm going, oh, sorry. I know I'm hurting him. So next thing you know, Owen is such a great wrestler. He reaches around, spins me around, snap mares me, puts me in a headlock or a chin lock. And I'm looking, and he goes, look at your boot. And I look down, and one of my boots are unlaced. Now, a boot being unlaced is like walking with your zipper undone in public. So I'm like, oh, God. So I reach down with my finger, I poke the lace back in. All right. He goes, okay. Wrestle around again, snap mare, chin lock. Look at your other boot. I look down. My other boot is unlaced. Now I'm going, holy hell. I'm never like this. I'm more professional than this. My laces are never undone. Again, Owen gets me, rolls me around, snap mare, chin lock. I look at both my boots, my laces, and he goes, and I hear in my ear, look at the referee's shoe. I look over at the referee's shoe is unlaced. And I start giggling, and over my ear, I can hear Owen giggling. And then he goes, are you relaxed? And I go, yeah. He goes, now let's go wrestle. And we went out there and did another 12 minutes of just high-end match. And I tell everybody, Owen was so good in the ring. And he's by far the greatest. I've been in the ring with a lot of dudes. He is the best wrestler I've been in the ring with. And he was so good in the ring. He could tell a great wrestling story. He could put on a 5-star match, and he could rib you, and the people were none the wiser. All they were seeing was Owen Hart just going out there and wrestling. That's how good Owen Hart was, and I miss him dearly. And man, the world needs more Owen Harts.
No, definitely. And then I never ever get sick of hearing a good Owen Hart story. I've heard that story before too. But when you put it in that perspective of like that was his way to like calm you down. And get you out of your own head.
That's right. He was getting me right.
Yeah.
And he got me to a place where I just relaxed and I wrestled.
Yeah.
And that's how good he was.
Hey yo, it's your boy, the Wrestling Classic, Justin here, and I'm here to tell you guys about one of wrestling's best kept secrets for merchandise, officially licensed WWE and NXT merchandise, 500level.com. Check them out, 500level.com. Get officially licensed merchandise for the WWE, NXT, UFC, MLB, NBA, NHL. They got it all. If you join the Partnership Point program as a loyal customer, you will get discounts down the road. You can find merchandise for some of your favorite NXT stars that you can't find anywhere else. Javon Evans, Kalani Jordan, Carmen Petrovic, Lola Vice, Trick Williams. They got merchandise for everybody on NXT. You got OG shirts like this NWO shirt. You got big stars like the Queen Charlotte Flair. You get new designs like this new design for Lita. You get designs I helped out with, like this design for Dakota Kai, which I was a part of creating when Dakota didn't have those many shirts going on. You can get, like I said, NXT superstars like Carmen Petrovic and many others. You can get OGs like the none other than the Hot Rod, Rowdy, Roddy Piper. You can get CM Punk, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, anybody you want. Sami Zayn's 500level.com. Check them out. You can even get the bad guy, Razor Ramon. You get your OG, like I said, logo shirts, NWO, WWF, Survivor Series, Raw's War. 500level.com. Check them out. Join the partnership program. Some of the best quality shirts, premium quality, regular quality. Some of the best product you will find out there, officially licensed WWE, NXT merchandise, and OG Legend stuff. 500level.com. Check them out. Keep doing the thing. We'll see you all later. Ooh, yeah. How, because obviously you were there initially with the original Nation as well, so like, how was it working with Crush and Savio? Because those guys don't get a lot of love as well, Crush does, but Savio sometimes doesn't get as a lot of love as he should.
Savio. Okay, if you're a fan of Steve Austin, the reason why Steve Austin got over is because of his strap matches with Savio Vega. This is what started the Steve Austin run. That was the first time there was a Stone Cold, and he was wrestling for the Intercontinental title in Caribbean strap matches with Savio. Savio is that dude. He is that good. He does not get enough love, but his in-ring work, off the charts. His ring psychology, he could put together a match with a squirrel, and it would be 5-star. Like, Savio is the unsung hero of the nation because there was a lot of times he would have ideas and places for, like, in matches and finishes. Savio was the brains. I will throw flowers at Savio all day long. And then Crush, one of the nicest dudes on this planet. You saw this big hulking man, but inside he had this golden heart. And if he loved you, if he was a friend of yours, God have mercy on anyone who came at you in a negative way, because he would be right there to defend you.
That's awesome. Yeah, and he's a scary dude to have defending you too, so that works.
Bro, I wanted him sitting next to me, not looking across at me.
Obviously, Dwayne The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, obviously a superstar of the world now, but at the time you saw him turning from the blue chipper gimmick that wasn't that great into The Rock. Rocky might be into The Rock. How was it working with The Rock and seeing his entire journey to this point?
It was cool, and if anyone says they could see Rocky when he was poofy hair Maivia and go, he's going to dominate the wrestling world, they're lying to you. No one saw that coming.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, as someone who was in the car with him and someone who, stayed in the same hotel room, I saw his work ethic. I saw his will to get better. I saw him cutting promos at 11 o'clock at night in the mirror at the hotel. As we're driving down the road, if something, a catchphrase came on in a song, he'd pull out a pen and a pad and write it down just so he wouldn't forget it. The intensity of him learning his facials and learning the people's eyebrow, in a hotel when no one was watching. Seeing that, I knew he had the foundation to be good. Yeah. Now, did I think he could become great and dominate the world and become, at one point, the most famous actor on the planet? No. But man, what a ride it was to watch it. It was cool to have that front row seat and have that perspective that no one else got to see.
I have this theory about him, and you knew him personally, and you worked with him when he was coming up. And I try to explain this theory to people because I feel like there's this thing about The Rock that people don't realize. And you saying this kind of puts this theory to fact too. I'm like, people don't realize how much of whatever he's doing, whether it's acting or wrestling, how much of a student of the game The Rock is to learn and soak in stuff. Because everyone always just everyone just remembers Rock as like, oh, he was so popular and he was great. But I'm like, yo, but do you guys remember 96, 97? Like,
Yeah.
And then it's like everyone's like, oh, The Rock's the biggest actor in the world. He's the greatest. But I'm like, do you guys remember like 2003 to 2011 when he wasn't making great movies? I'm like, he obsesses and he goes through the struggle and then he reaches a point of success because he did that. And nobody ever accounts for that stretch. They just account for the success. And I'm like, The Rock is the man, but you understand, like, for the younger generation that wants instant gratification, there was work that was put in there for him to get where he got all the time.
Absolutely. Everyone sees the finished product and goes, that's what he is.
Yeah.
I got to see 6 months before he did Scorpio King, him reading acting books in the car, hearing about him going to acting classes. No one knows that work. And I got firsthand account of seeing him immersing himself and becoming extremely, if he was going to do it, he wasn't going to do anything half-assed. He was going to be, he was all in. And that's what fueled his success. It wasn't the fact that he's most charismatic or he was a natural. It's because he worked hard to get to those points, and then it naturally came out.
Yeah. Another life lesson.
Yes. Work your ass off when no one is watching, and then it pays off when the world is.
Yeah, and then when the world is, they might not remember that you worked your ass off, but people that have goals, they'll know, like, dude, those years he's putting on work. One of the greatest rivals of the Nation, and we're gonna wrap up this Nation thing really quickly here, but also he was in it for like a cup of coffee. What was your relationship with Ahmed Johnson? I know he's a polarizing figure. I actually recently just interviewed Farouk at a convention, Ron Simmons, and he talked about how they squashed their beef, and years have gone by. It is what it is. It was good to see him. They're both not active in the business no more. There's no level of competition or anything. But what was your take on Ahmed and your memories with him?
I always looked at Ahmed as the guy who was supposed to have a ton of success and never lived up to his potential. He was supposed to be the dude. He was supposed to be him.
Yeah.
And for various reasons, he never aspired to it. And as you astutely put out, that he and Ron have squashed their beef, and I'm with Ron. If he and Ron are okay, then he and I are okay. Because I follow Ron. When Ron's mad at somebody, Ron can be mad at his shoe, and I'm mad at his shoe too.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got no heat with Ahmed. I wish him the best. I hope him a very long and fruitful life, and hopefully one day he gets the flowers he deserves for his moment in the sun in wrestling, because he was something no one had ever seen before, and quite frankly, I don't think anybody's ever seen since. He was just a freak of nature.
Yeah.
And I wish his career would have played out differently, because he should have been and could have been a world champion.
It seemed like he was being almost groomed to be the first Black WWE champion at that time.
It looked like it, yeah.
Doing that stuff. Obviously, injuries kind of plagued him a bit, but then, from what you hear, there's also maybe a little of it got to his head, and then he got scared.
Yeah,
that people were coming for him.
It's amazing how success sometimes breeds
ego,
contentment, and then paranoia.
Yeah.
And those all play in there. And sometimes you see people coming at you when no one's coming at you. Maybe they're coming at you to help you. And sometimes you see people coming at you as trying to take your spot. And I'll leave it at that. Just that's a man who history should have been different. And Ahmed should have been world champion.
Yeah. Your initial thoughts when it happened, and your thoughts now of the DX parody of the Nation. Obviously, times have changed, but when it happened and then now.
And there's a difference between 2025 perspective and 1998.
100%. And once again, I'm 1 in 91. I get it. There's things I used to say that you are not allowed to say.
Yes. There's a lot of things that I said and did that statute of limitations haven't expired yet.
Yeah.
In 98, I was incredibly entertained. In fact, the DX had come to us and asked us for ideas on how to be us better. I thought the segment was incredibly funny. I thought it was something that helped jumpstart the rivalry. Now, 2025, we could have done the exact same segment and been just as funny without blackface and some of the racial humor.
Yeah.
We could have done the exact same thing and been just as funny.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time, there'd be a couple things I'd change on it, but would I change the whole segment? No. But there'd be some pieces I would nitpick out of there because it truly fueled, really jump-started the rivalry between Nation and DX and then launched us into that whole summer of gang wars.
Yeah, and honestly, like people still talk about it's remembered, right? And it's like, if you watch any stand-up comedian back in the day, you watch the Hugh Lee show, the comedy in there is probably wouldn't stand today, but it was funny at the time. Like
it was funny for the time, for the world we lived in. It was funny then. I mean, people give flack on one of my favorite movies, Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
and
because Robert
that
Downey
movie,
Jr.
Robert. It wouldn't play today, but hell, was it funny then? I still have the DVD copy of it right now.
Yeah, no, it's just I was in Chattanooga for that convention when I interviewed Ron, and I was in my hotel room, and the Netflix in America has the Hughleys, and I started watching, and I was like, oh, a lot of this, it's funny as hell, but a lot of this does not fly today.
If you looked at comedy from the 70s, I mean, there was a show called All in the Family where Archie Bunker was a out and out racist and dropped the N-bomb on TV. Yeah, and that was funny in 79. It wasn't funny in 89 or 99.
No, for sure. Let's wrap this part up then. What do you think is the legacy of the Nation of Domination? I do think, like, as a group, you guys should definitely go in the Hall of Fame at some point. I mean, the Hart Foundation has, DX has, the NWO has. I think you guys up there is one of those groups that, like, everybody remembers you. Anytime you guys get together at a meet and greet or a convention, you guys pose together, everyone gets excited. So what do you think the legacy of the Nation of Domination is?
I think the Nation, without a doubt, as a whole, should be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And if you look at the benchmark of what a faction is, usually a faction is built as a vessel to get one guy over, the Horseman with flair. With the Nation, everyone that was in the Nation got bigger after leaving the Nation. So that lets you know what kind of launch pad the Nation was. Yeah. Everyone had their most success after it. And the Nation was such a revolutionary thing. It was ahead of its time. It was polarizing. It was everything that pro wrestling is supposed to be. It made people talk about it. And till this day, as you put it out, 30-something years later, people not only still talk about the Nation, but remember it fondly. It's standing a test of time, and to me, that's something that's Hall of Fame worthy. So I am all on the Nation as a group. All of us need to stand up there one last time, throw up the fist, and walk into the Hall of Fame together.
And it's crazy because even though it wasn't that at the beginning and it wasn't that when Owen was in it, it's when a faction gets together, whether it's Evolution or the NWO or DX, like for the most fans of the 80s, they will compare it to the Four Horsemen. They'll immediately be like, where does this faction stand to the Four Horsemen? Now with the new generation of fans, they will put every faction up against the NWO and DX. Like, where does this faction stand with the DX and NWO? We've seen it over to anytime a group of black males get together in a group, it's always, it's the new Nation.
Yes. that should tell you how important the Nation is. When anytime four black guys get together, it's the next version of it. Yes.
The new Nation of Domination every single time. So it shows that like it left an impact, and it was representation for a group of fans as well. That was like, that's our group. Like that was our group. So
that's really our horsemen. That's the people we're gonna ride with. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for us Canadians, like the Hart Foundation will always be special to us. And
see?
Davey and Neidhart weren't even Canadians. It's just the Harts.
No, they were Canadian by marriage.
Yeah. Pillman wasn't either. Like I'm just like, we love them.
They were Canadian because they trained in Calgary.
Yeah. But now let's move on quickly. One of the first double champions. You were the Intercontinental and European champion at the same time. How was that for you? I love the whole like tour of Europe thing where you're from a different place in Europe all the time. But how was that honor to be the double champion at that point?
It was one of those surreal moments because I remember let's talk about getting the EuroContinental title. I remember it was like a Saturday. I'd won the European title back from like Midian, I think it was. Yeah. And then it was Monday night on Raw that I beat Jeff Jarrett for the Intercontinental title. And I remember when Vince Russo came to me and told me what the plan was for the day, I was like, why are you ribbing me? Why are you joking with me? There's no way I'm going to be a double champ in this company. He goes, yeah, we're going to put the IC belt on you. And I didn't even want to touch the belt. Because you always take pictures before with the belts when you're going to win them. I didn't want to touch it because if I touched it, I was gonna ruin it. And then had the match, and then I remember that night I had a twin hotel room with 2 beds, and I remember laying both belts on the one bed, and I sat down on the other, and I just sat there for what felt like forever, staring at both belts, thinking to myself, how do I have both of these with me right now?
Yeah.
How, and then to realize in the long history of wrestling, there's not many firsts ever, and be the first guy to ever have both these belts at the same time. Dude, once again, the 9-year-old side of me was doing backflips. The professional in me was like, stay calm, but I couldn't because I'm like, this is freaking amazing. Like this is one of the coolest things ever. And then the amount of pride I had knowing the company believed in me that much to not put one title on me, but 2, and to go carry them and to go out there and do work, man. To this day, that's something that way it's big for me.
And if you're just looking from like the rock and roll wrestling era forward, it was just Warrior, Shawn, Diesel, Davey that were double champs, I think. And then you. Like, and now there's been a lot more, but like at that point, like that's a crazy list to be on. Like
it was not a normal thing to be a double champ. It was hard to be a single champ back then, let alone be a double champ. So to have that place in history, you know, long after I'm gone, people are going to look and go, oh, first Intercontinental champ, D'Lo Brown. That's the coolest part.
Yeah. The head bob, how did that start? I know you've told the story millions of times, but for my audience, how did the head bob thing become a thing?
It came from a very culture significant movie, Friday.
Yeah.
And if you know the part where Devo comes riding up on the bike and Redbone goes, man, my mama said I need my bike back. And he goes, oh, yeah? And then he uppercuts him, right? Boom. Yeah. And then Chris goes, you just got knocked the fuck out.
Smokey, yeah.
Yes. So it was me sitting there watching that one day with Rocky. And then the next night on Raw, Rocky's wrestling Ken Shamrock, and I know Ken Shamrock gets clothesline over the top, and I can hear JR doing the commentary. And once again, it goes back to Ron Simmons going, if you could steal a moment, make it yours. I know the camera's going to be on Ken because we go to commercial break, and I'd get over top of him, and I'd just go, you just got knocked out. And that was the first time I did the head shake was over Ken Shamrock going to commercial break. And, you know, that was the day that Vince noticed it and told me to keep doing it. And from there, I turned up the volume on it. That's where the strut came from, and walking to the music, and then it went from a subtle thing to I look like I was the first embodiment of a human bobblehead.
Yeah, no, 100%. The head shake was great, and I even though I feel like I've heard the story, I forgot it was from Friday, and I love Friday.
Yeah,
Friday after next.
It's what I could watch. Friday's when I could watch Friday. I could put it in right now and watch Friday right now.
Yeah, no, and I've had those Fridays, so I understand. Yes. Growing up, that's what was relatable to an extent. So I was like, oh, I've had those Fridays, which is weird now in the world of social media and phones and whatnot. But sitting in your front lawn with a buddy, trying to figure out what to do with the day,
trying to figure out what to do,
just swapping stories.
What are we gonna do today? Yes.
Should we go to the convenience store and get some candy? Should we do? I don't know. Should we go see what's her name's doing? Like that was real life back then.
Yes, it was.
The chest protector gimmick. How did that get going?
That was a Jim Ross idea, and it was an idea that I was not on board with at first. I actually hated the idea. JR was in catering one day, and he sees me walk by, and he calls me over, and he goes, D'Lo, you're a really talented wrestler. You're really good, but what sets you apart from every other talented wrestler on the roster? And at that, I was like, I had no answer. I was like, I don't know. And he goes, what if we gave you something? You're finished the frog splash. What if we injure your chest and then give you this unfair advantage of a chest protector? And my first thought was, okay, yeah, hopefully he forgets about the stupid ass idea because this is dumb. And a couple of days later, he goes, do you think anything more about this? And I go, let me go home and let me think about it. So I remember flying home, and my fiance at the time I'm telling her, and I'm mad. I can't believe they're gonna make fun of me. They're gonna call me Johnny Bench. I'm gonna be a catcher. And she said calmly, she goes, if you try the idea and it's bad, it fails because it was a bad idea. If you don't try it, it fails because you didn't try. And I looked at her and go, damn, why do you gotta be right? Why do you gotta be right? So then I went back to TV and I just go, JR, let's do the thing. So they got, a costume building it. And the first day it was debut was in Pittsburgh. And I ran through the crowd. I climbed up and I helped Rocky win a match with a frog splash with a chest protector on. And I remember climbing up the top rope and I heard a different kind of murmur in the crowd, like a huh? What? And when I hit the frog splash, the reaction the crowd did was different than when I normally hit the frog splash. It was more of a woo. And as I hit and I roll out, I go, oh, shoot, we got something here.
Yeah.
This thing's going to work. And I was like, damn it, this is going to work. Damn it. And then I remember running back and people were going, you're not hurt. Get that thing off of you. And I was like, we got something here.
Yeah.
And that's when it took off. And from being the thing that I didn't want to do and my least favorite idea, it's the thing that next to the head shake is the thing that I'm most associated with in wrestling. And it was never considered a joke. It was considered revolutionary. And why didn't I think of using that gimmick like that before? So I give JR all the credit in the world for coming up with it. And I thank him because it made me relevant. It put a spotlight on me for the first time.
It's crazy because if you go back to the beginning of this conversation and your love for being a chicken shit heel, what a perfect combination to give you this chest protector, right?
And that's it's I shouldn't have it. It's an unfair advantage. My finish should be illegal because I've got this weapon on.
You're specifically doing this finish because you got it on.
Yes, and that's what a chicken shit heel does. He takes advantage of a bad situation.
Yeah. I have to ask you, because now as I'm talking to him, remembering things, you talked about the head shake and you brought up your theme song. Did you enjoy the theme? Like, it's a real deal now. Like, did you like the theme song when you first heard it? Was it something that grew on you, or did you just never like it?
I liked it from Jump Street as it was being put together by Jim Johnson. He's a musical genius. So it started out with, he goes, we're going to get you some. That original song was originally for me and Mark Henry as a tag team. Yeah. The original version was a tag team version. And so he's asking us to bring in some songs that we like, the riff of or the beats to. So we brought in a couple songs and he goes, all right. And then he's looking, and Jim Johnson has this amazing ability. And if you go back and look at it, the songs literally match the attitude of each wrestler that it represented, like to a T. And he had the ability of looking at you walk to the ring, and he goes, hold on a second. He walks away, and he comes back, and he's got a couple things, and he goes, what do you think about this? And it was the first bass line of the and I was like, and he goes, all right, we'll start out with this. And there was the record scratch. And I'm like, oh, this is getting good. So he goes, I'll come back in about a week. And a week later, he had gone down to a music house in New York City that he had. He had got the artist to do background noise, to do the background tracks. He had got me to drop a couple things like the laugh in there is mine. There's a couple things in there that are mine. And then I got presented with the finish. And he goes, what do you think of this? And I was like, that's not my music. That's too good.
Yeah.
That was my first thought.
All the songs he did for everyone in the nation during that period was really cool. Like, it just fit that time and that vibe.
Yes.
And people, young fans might not know, like, The Rock's music is still based off of what that original Nation Rock music was.
It's the original one, that bass line and guitar riff. Yeah. That's the original rock music.
Yeah. Which it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Music.
But yeah.
Yes. Because you can hear the underline of the Nation music in there. And so Jim Johnson if he don't get enough flowers, I will go to a florist and drop the entire shop on him because he's a musical genius, and music has not been the same since he walked away.
Absolutely not. I didn't realize it, but I have so much to talk to you about, but we'll try to get through this really quickly. Let's talk a little bit of the not so great eras, like some things that, Obviously, I have to ask you about it. I'm Punjabi. I'm Sikh. I'm the same thing Tiger Ali Jeet Singh was.
Yes.
Tell me about Lowdown. I know it wasn't your favorite, team with Chaz, formerly known as Moshas and the Headbangers. They made you guys wear turbans. You guys both weren't Sikhs or Indians. I know. So, like, what was that about? Like, how was that pitched to you? Like, it was a weird time.
It was a very weird time, and Chaz and I love teaming with Chaz. Let's put that out there. The original incarnation of Lowdown, where we wore the track pants and we were topless, I loved it. At some point, Vince decided he was paying Tiger and his dad a lot of money to sit around and do nothing.
Yeah.
And he wanted to really capitalize on the Indian market. So he's like, let's bring him back. Who should we put him with? Well, let's put him with this new tag team and let him manage them. And I was okay with that. It just started getting a little wonky when they wanted me to play Sikh and be something I wasn't, which I have all the respect in the world for being Sikh, and it wasn't me.
Yeah. No, as someone that is Sikh, like Sikh, it's we never had the right representation back in those days.
Yes, it felt like we were versions of Aladdin instead of being serious.
Yeah,
and it was more like they were making fun of being Sikh as opposed to putting a spotlight on it and magnifying it and empowering it. And when you've got, basically Chaz and I were two sympathizers to the Sikh culture, so we're two imposters being Sikh. It just didn't work, and it became more of a joke. And I think it could have been done. Like, I would have really it would have been better if there were two Sikh wrestlers in that spot where you could magnify what Sikh was.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to just fit two round pegs in a square hole.
Mm-hmm. And it sucks too, because I think Tiger Ali Singh never just reached the potential he could. So to Vince's credit, he's like, "What? We got to do something with this guy. I'm paying him."
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is you had 500 million people in India who are Sikh, and if Tiger Ali Singh would have gotten over, what a market you could have really taken and gone to, and really gotten a lot out of it. But instead, it just fell flat on its face and probably turned a lot of Sikhs away from watching us because we were making fun of them.
I'll say this: like Jinder, they did good with the Bollywood boys and whatnot, but till this point, I don't think we haven't broken away of like still having to be the foreign heel. We have to be the bad guys. You're supposed to hate us because we're not from here. Like, I think we need to get, and there's a lot more Indian and Punjabi wrestlers now than there ever has been before. Like, I think it's time that we start just like letting them be people with regular characters. Like, hey, this is the guy that goes to that club and picks up the girls. This is the guy,
Okay, I have always had this idea for a Sikh character.
Yeah.
Okay, and instead of being the turban wearing stereotypical trope, and as someone who's gone to clubs and worked in clubs, be that billionaire who's so obnoxiously rich, that walks into a club and he buys the whole VIP area and doesn't sit in it because he doesn't want anybody to sit there. He just wants to know he can have it. No one else can be there. Like that
sounds very Sikh of a rich Sikh guy for sure.
Have you seen that dude?
I don't know. You could go either way. You could have said the billionaire. You could have said the scummy promoter. I was with it. Like,
either or, but I mean, I would rather the Sikh culture. If you're going to be a heel, get heat for that than get heat for being Sikh.
Yeah, because I've always heard, and obviously I've talked to people where like I've heard the story where someone told someone, well, like if you're not wearing the turban, how are they going to know what you are? And it's like, it's 2025. Everybody's something. Yeah. So like,
it's like saying if you're not carrying a basketball, how are people going to know you're black? Like, it makes zero sense.
Yeah. Hey, yo, it's your boy, the Wrestling Classic, Justin. I'm here to show you guys the new officially licensed WWE plush toys that are available now at Walmart.ca online. Guys, you can get yourself a Jey Uso. Yeet. Look, he's got the hair, a little mullet going on here. He's got the glasses. Probably the coolest one that I think out of them all. I actually really like the Jey Uso. We got some legends. We got some guys like Hulk Hogan. We got Hulkamania. Got the Hulkster handlebars and all. We got the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is up in here. Look at the details on the jacket and all that fun stuff. We got the Tribal Chief himself, Roman Reigns. And guys, I'm only showing you some of them. There's so many other ones that aren't here with me now. There's Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, CM Punk, Rhea Ripley. This one's one of my favorites. Jake the Snake Roberts with the snake. A little cool detail to have the snake with him. I think anyone would enjoy playing with this guy. It's got the OG gear and everything as well. Snakeskin boots. Of course, I had to get Bret the Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there will be. Can I do like the thingy, the little hand thingy? I don't know. It's cool, Bret Hart. Once again, the details are really cool. You can pull the straps down. That's another thing that's like a little interesting, you know, if you want to be playing with these. It's his retirement tour, last time ever. It says it on the shirt. This is a very exclusive plush toy of John Cena. You can do the whole "You Can't See Me" last time ever. Pretty cool John Cena plush toy. These are kind of larger than your usual plush toys. They call them full size because they're a little bit bigger than the tiny ones that you can also get from Walmart. And then we also got none other than the final boss, The Rock, doing the people's eyebrow and everything. Check these out, walmart.ca. They'll be in stores. Select styles will be in select stores next month in November. And then in 2026, they'll be in some stores in the United States. WWE officially licensed plush toys. These were just some of the ones I could show you. There's a ton more. Make sure you get them all before they do another drop, so you don't miss out on any of the drops. And then the one last thing about the WWF front, because I really quickly want to talk to you about TNA and All Japan and stuff. Droz, the incident.
Yes.
Injuries happen, freak accident. I mean, Seth Rollins, when this releases, just had to be stripped of the world title because he did a dive on Cody and hurt his shoulder. Things happen all the time. How was your relationship with Droz after? And did that mess with you for a bit after that?
Take the second part of that first. Yeah, it messed my head up. It fundamentally changed who I was as a wrestler in the ring. I not that I was ever reckless, but I became a lot more protective and cautious. The worst thing when you get into wrestling is you're taking someone else's life literally in your hands, and you want to put them back in the same place you found them, in the same condition, and you never want to be part of someone getting hurt. Now we know this industry is not ballet, and people get hurt. You just never want to be on your watch. And as far as Droz and I go, to the day he passed, he and I talked weekly. We had conversations. We talked about everything but the injury. We talked about the injury and the accident one time, and that was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And other than that, we were just boys who chatted and talked. I'm still close with family now to this day. And, you know, he's part of me. He's part of my career. My career is only as good as it rides with him. And hopefully my career is his career, because I had to wrestle for two of us after that. So literally till the day he passed, he and I were good friends, and there was never any hard feelings or anything between the two of us other than just we're friends. And we both came from a sports background. So we both came from football, where it was anything can happen at any moment. It's part of the risk of playing the game.
And I think that makes a difference too, because that's the risk with sports as well, right? It is someone you land on a tackle the wrong way, you get body checked the wrong way, like anything can happen, right? So it's like, and honestly, like I remember him too, as like after it happened, he did articles for the website, like WWE.com, and I remember reading those all the time, and always in good spirits, always in good opinions. Like I don't think, I don't know, he just seemed like I didn't know him, never met him, but he seemed like a great guy.
You read him right, because he was a good dude who was always full of hope. He knew he was going to walk up until the day he passed. He was going to walk again.
Yeah,
like and he told himself that, and he was, I mean, just a good all around dude.
Yeah, rest in peace to him though, and So that's the thing that happens. I think that people like it's a risk, and that's the thing that like as fans now you should understand. Like that's the risk wrestlers are taking every single time they step in the ring. Is like you're working together. You have to trust each other, and like when you're on the internet sometimes and you're seeing people being like giving star ratings or saying this match sucks or that match sucks or this person doesn't know how to wrestle. Like some botches are sometimes one or the other person trying to save each other from the botch actually being worse. Like have some consideration is what I'm saying. Is my PSA right now. Is just have some consideration.
I'm clapping along with you, because you never know what two guys or two girls are going through in the ring until you walk in their boots. And unfortunately, most fans will never experience that. And you're right. Sometimes a botch is bad, but it could be 1,000 times worse if that other wrestler wasn't there to let's say, fall the wrong way, but protect the other person.
Yeah, or like pick them up, like tumble this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You never know.
So
And then
you never know.
On a lighter note, I used to joke around. I'm like, you hear all these stories back in the day of, rock and roll, drugs and alcohol and strip club stories. I'm like, how do we know half these wrestlers were like hungover in their ring? Like, I've been hungover now. I know the vibe. It's not fun.
I will tell you, it was a different culture back then. And you're right. Who knows what condition anybody was in when they got into the ring.
How was Ric Flair doing 60 minutes after a night out? Somebody explain this to me.
I've heard his schedule. This brother would wrestle 60 minutes, party till 5 a.m., 6 a.m., hop on a plane, land, go to the gym, get to the building, do it all over again. I don't know how he did it.
That's insane. Yeah. And I've been in places and around him and with him partying in recent years, and he still goes hard, so I don't get it.
The man is a machine.
2026.
Yes.
AJ Styles said it's going to be his last year wrestling. He's good. He's ready to retire. We just had the John Cena retirement. It seems like a lot of the people that came in 2000, 2002, that era, are starting to wind down now. You got to work with AJ really early on, 2003, TNA. You got to team with him and stuff. Tell me about AJ, your experience with AJ, and just like what you think about him as a talent and star.
I remember the first time I got to be in the ring with AJ. First of all, sitting in the locker room and talking to him. To be so young, but to have a really good idea of what this business was about was impressive. And then I got in the ring with him, and I knew this kid was. You could feel it. You could see it. You just knew this kid, given the opportunity, was going to be generational. And to watch him grow, to be there in the early beginning, to give some of the advice that I had gotten, to pass it down to him, and then to watch him grow, awesome. I'm looking forward to the day when his last match is, so I can call him and congratulate him on a great career, and tell him that I saw it from the beginning, and I'm so happy that his career was better than what I even envisioned for him. And I want to congratulate him on just a marvelous, amazing career. On everywhere he went, he was the top dude, and that doesn't happen too often in wrestling.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting year. It's like the Cena thing. Like, how's he going to play out? Who's going to be his last opponent? And honestly, AJ, to me, I'm like, I don't think I've ever. Sometimes you take it for granted because he's so good that you get kind of immune to it, and he's so almost like spotless in the ring. Like, there's not like a flaw. That I get what he says now, where he's like, if I can't keep up the way I used to, I don't want to keep doing it. I want the fans to remember me for what I was. Like, there's even already certain moves he doesn't do anymore because he doesn't feel like. He talked to Chris Van Vliet and talked about not doing the spiral tap anymore because he just doesn't feel like he can. And it's like, I get that. So it's like, I don't know, but to live in an era of AJ Styles, like he really did change the game to an extent. You see a lot of people doing stuff that AJ Styles does now.
He was a trailblazer and a trendsetter, and you're right. Like, before him, a lot of things he did wasn't seen, and now it's taught in wrestling schools. Yeah. So he's there's a bookmark in the history of wrestling, and it's labeled AJ Styles, and he's got a whole chapter to himself about changing the business.
100%. You grew up a wrestling fan, so there's always the lore of wrestling in Japan. So eventually you went and wrestled for All Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, if you are an actual wrestling fan at some point, obviously you were a Muda fan, but at some point you'll learn about Baba and Inoki and all these names and Chono, and you're like, okay, what, like, Japan, there's something going on over there. Especially before the internet, there was something going on over there. How was it for you to go to work in Japan? Was that something you really wanted to do? And how was that? And you did it on 2 different stints, but how was All Japan for you?
It was something that I always wanted to do because I was a tape trader back in the day.
Okay, there you go.
So I knew about Japan.
You were in the lore.
Yes, I was the 0.0001% of wrestling fans who knew what was going on in Japan. And it was a place I always wanted to go. And it's almost like I would trade every bit of my WWE FE career if I could have gone to Japan first and learned in the dojo. Like, I have such high standards for what Japan is, for the level of work over there, the class of people that are there, in terms of talent. Just, I say this a lot. I consider myself lucky, but man, to have been in the ring with Misawa, Kobashi, Kawada, Muda, Kojima, Tenzan, to be in the ring with these dudes.
Yeah.
Like, these are the dudes, and I've shared the ring with them. Bruh, I put my Japanese run up against anything I've ever done. And I look back on it very fondly, because I consider myself lucky to have lived that life.
If we ever run this back and we do like a quick 30-minute thing, we're just going to talk about your Japan run, because you just dropped some names right now that I don't even know that you. I'm like, oh, Masawa, Kobashi, like, and you told me earlier you shared the room with Muda. I'm like, okay, I clearly didn't do enough research on this Japan run, but I feel like there's a lot of meat on that bone that I'm intrigued by right now.
I consider myself the Forrest Gump of wrestling. Like, if you see a great moment in wrestling, there's me standing in the background somewhere. I'm right there. So yeah, I would love to run it back, and we could talk nothing but with Japan.
Yeah, just 30 minutes on that run. Just talk like go watch the original interview, guys. We're just gonna spend 30 minutes talking about Japan here, because
here's an amendment to our interview. Let's do it.
We'll do that because I have so many questions, but we're running a lot overtime here. WWE 2008, 2009. You had a stint. You went back. You did a bunch of dark matches. Nothing really came out of that. What happened?
It was coming back, and we were going to do a couple things together. Just, we didn't mesh. The company and I didn't mesh in terms of where the company was going and what I was. I was very old school compared to where they were going at that point. And it just didn't work out right. It was just like, it was like having a girlfriend, breaking up with her, and then going back to date her 5 years later and hoping the magic rekindles, but you go, I know the reason why I broke up with you in the first place. This was going back in 2008. We both realized the reason why we broke up, and it just didn't work out. And no ill will or hard feelings, just the timing wasn't right anymore.
Were they trying to fit like 1998 D-Lo in 2008? Is that what the plan was?
Yes, it was more. And then I was also moving to the point where I wanted to become more of a mentor and be backstage. Yeah. And it just, it didn't work, and my shtick had run its course by then. Yeah, and you can't just drop it back in 6 years later and go, here we go. Yeah, and it just didn't click.
They tried doing that a few times, and it was during that era where they tried to bring back LOD with Heidenreich, or they brought back Tatanka, and it just was like there's a little bit of nostalgia at the beginning, but at some point people are like, okay, like, how do they fit into this new era now?
And that's you're trying to fit an old soul into a new realm, and it didn't work out well. It wasn't a smooth transition, and it was better just to move apart than to struggle with it.
What do you enjoy most about producing and being backstage and helping talent, more so than being the wrestler now?
It's like being a dad and teaching your kid how to ride a bike for the first time. Like, the joy I get from giving an idea, giving a suggestion to talent, and watching them go out there and do it, listening to the crowd react, and when they come back, you can see the smile on their face, like, that worked. That's what makes it worthwhile. That learning moment right there, to open their eyes to the possibility of deeper level of thought of wrestling. That's what I live for. And it's almost like I can live vicariously through them and it's almost as fun as being out there myself doing it. But now I'm helping someone else's success. Yeah. I'm building somebody else. And that's priceless.
Yeah. I've always thought to myself, even with my own stuff, I'm like, when I created this, it was by accident. Ex-girlfriend, I have Instagram, made a wrestling page, built a community. I'm like, I think I kept wanting these things for myself, but I feel like more of my purpose was being able to help everybody else and let people share their stories or steer people in the right direction. So that being said, is there something you've done in this producer agent role that you're really proud of, that you kind of be like, I can take that with me and I know I helped this specific person or this specific thing work?
And I'm never the one. I won't say names or matches because I don't think producers should get credit for the work.
Not taking credit, but like, is there something where like, you're proud of, something you're proud of that worked out, that was like, maybe it wasn't like people were saying that's not going to work or this isn't going to happen, but it did.
99% of the matches I produced in TNA were better than I ever could imagine. The Josh Alexander TJP 60-man Iron Man match, amazing to be part of that, and then to get to produce it and then go out there and call it. Being around, Beer Money or Young AJ Styles, or being part of Ace and Eights and helping that group grow, like, man, it's so fun to be behind the scenes and get to see it play out. And then the vision is less than what actually played out in the ring. Like, that's greater than what you even saw in your head.
It exceeded expectations.
Yes, those are the things I'm most proud of, is giving an idea and then watching a talent go out there and just hit a home run, kick the Super Bowl winning, field goal, scoring the freaking hat trick in the Stanley Cup Game 7. Like, that's what they do. And they knock it out of the park. And to watch them come back and be so proud of themselves, happy with themselves, and talking about how the crowd reacted, that it's a full circle moment. Now I get to play Ron Simmons now.
Yeah.
And I get to give it to the next generation.
Was it hard for them to pull you out of your agent producer role and get you in this Aces and Eights storyline?
Well, okay, so I was never supposed to be part of Aces and Eights.
Yeah.
I was in the beginning where everyone wore masks. I was to go out there and help them learn how to do beatdowns so they wouldn't step on each other, and it wasn't all muddled.
Yeah.
The problem is I've got this very distinctive head shape, and everyone knew this peanut was me. And so I got called out a few times, and I'm out there under the mask. And then as it just flowed, Eric Bischoff just came up with the idea that it would be a great twist if it actually was me under the hood. And that's when I got pushed out there into the spotlight. But it wasn't that hard to get me to do it, because I love producing it. And then there's still me, that I'm the entertainer. I want to be out there in front of the camera. So there's no better way to show you can teach it than to show the people you can still do it.
Yeah, and you got to have a couple of good matches with Kurt Angle and other people. One last run in there that like maybe wasn't expected or you were thinking was going to happen. So do you have a moment from that Aces and Eight run, or like a match that you really enjoyed?
It was we had done a show in Hoffman Estates in Chicago, Illinois, and I remember Aces and Eights walking out our music, and we're heels. Yeah, and the crowd just going crazy for us. And I'm like, we're not heels anymore, boys. Like, they love us. And just walking out in Chicago and just thinking, okay, this thing has got legs. Yeah. You could just feel the vibe. And to know we were connecting was pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it was a time, and also like it was perfect timing, like peak off of Sons of Anarchy, and you guys
exactly. Yes,
it was a good time. It was a good time. Last 4 questions. We'll wrap this up. Today, I creeped your Instagram a little bit. I saw it. I've helped promote and do some interviews to promote the shows. What's your relationship with Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling? What are we doing now? Is that mainly who you're working with at the moment?
Yeah, that's mainly on a national level. That's mainly what I do. Maple Leaf is is a Scott D'Amore promotion. Is based in Canada, near and dear to you. And without giving away too much of what's going on, just look forward to Maple Leaf Wrestling becoming a bigger part of the wrestling landscape in 26. I'm excited to be part of it. I love the matches we're putting on. I love the talent we get to work with. And to be a Canadian-based wrestling company is going to be huge for wrestling. I'll just put it like that.
Might need to reconnect with Scott in the next
bro, get ready, because this is going to be something in 26.
And to rewind for a second, because I did bring up how there's a lot of great Indian and Punjabi wrestlers in this current time. A lot of them were featured on Maple Leaf in the past, in the early shows, and that's where you can tell there's a lot of talent now. And just overall, like, I feel like it's a lot, like, when back in like your day, and even if I tried it back in my day a little bit, like, you could say you want to be a wrestler, but how to become a wrestler was hard to find out. Where I think now it's a little bit easier. So there's more people wanting to be wrestlers. So it's a competitive field nowadays.
Yeah, it is. And luckily now, like for example, Maple Leaf is not casting Indian wrestlers in tropes or stereotypes. You're just a wrestler. You're a wrestler who can go out there, and if you can out wrestle somebody, that's your stereotype, is you're a good wrestler.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that. That we don't worry about them being a character or a caricature. Just go wrestle.
No, exactly. Favorite, if you look, I'm gonna phrase it like this: if there was one match you could show your younger self from your career that you had, what match would you show them?
Wow. That's a good one. It would, let's say, SummerSlam '98, me and Val Venus, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Is one, or any match I had with X-Pac. Pick one.
Yeah. I was going to say the X-Pac feud is what I remember a lot of, and then like I specifically had that Highway to Hell SummerSlam VHS tape, so I'm like, I remember that fondly. Rock and Triple H as well in the ladder match and all that. So
Undertaker, Steve Austin in the main event.
Kane popping out a dumpster and Taker being like, "Get out of here!"
Edge appearing in the crowd.
Yeah.
No.
What? But I have my last question. But before I ask this, since we've talked about so much, I'm curious, like, what do you think? I asked you about the Nation, but what do you think the legacy of D'Lo Brown is? Like, how do you want fans to remember you?
Man, I just hope they remember a guy who went out there and worked his ass off and tried to give them 100%, no matter what was going on in my life, or if I was sick or hurt. I just wanted to go out there and entertain them and produce for them and give them any kind of enjoyment. And luckily enough, I hear it every time I'm going through an airport, or hell, even in a supermarket when I get shake your head. I feel fortunate enough to have had a career where people remember me.
Yeah.
Years later, and that's a huge accomplishment in the world of wrestling, when people can be forgotten so quickly and easily that 30 years later I'm sitting here talking to you about my career. That's pretty damn cool.
And we said it earlier, like I definitely do think the Nation should go in the Hall of Fame, but I also think D'Lo Brown should go in the Hall of Fame. Like this is an honor for me to talk to you. Like, it's cool. Like, the little kid in me is like, oh, it happens to me sometimes, and it'll always be like, well, I'm interviewing like you, or like I interviewed like Adam Baum or Alex Wright. It's like, you know, you guys deserve just as much love as Ric Flair. You know what I mean?
And I appreciate that, man. I worked my ass off, and if one day I'm ever fortunate enough to be there, I will walk in the hall with honor and take my place next to the boys in the Nation.
I hope so. Last question. I ask everybody this, and I wrap it up. It's easy to answer. It's easy to just be like, yes, 100%, but let it marinate for a second. Think about that person. If you would have talked to 9-year-old D'Lo Brown that discovered professional wrestling, do you feel like you've made your younger self proud?
Oh, without a doubt. I exceeded every expectation I ever had. I never thought I'd wrestle outside of the county level. And the fact that to wrestle in 100 different countries and have thousands of matches, and then to be influential on younger wrestlers' career, in a perfect dream, I couldn't have dreamt of this career.
Yeah.
I'm honored and blessed and lucky. I'm tearing up right now. If I could talk to young 9-year-old me, I would just say, buckle your seatbelt and get ready to go on the ride of a lifetime.
I mean, from Smoky Mountain to WWE to Japan to TNA, and then producing matches and helping other people that are trying to make their own younger selves proud. Like, it's a hell of a journey. And one thing I'm definitely going to take away from this is that Ron Simmons instilled a lot of good values in a lot of you. And I'm really glad I got to do this. And hopefully we get to talk down the road. We'll do that Japan episode, a Japan special.
Yes. Let's do it. Let's book it. Let's do interview 2.0, Japan only.
Yeah, because I gotta ask about the Masawa and Kabashi and this stuff. I'm intrigued. I'm gonna try to find some of your matches on social media, on YouTube or something. Maybe watch some of them and come back and be like, all right, let's talk about this.
Let's do it again. I'm looking forward to doing it. Looking forward to doing it again.
I appreciate you guys. Everyone, check out D'Lo Brown's podcast on Podcast Heat, The Lowdown. Follow him on social media. I believe it's D'Lo Brown LFC. Yep. So make sure you guys follow him on Instagram and whatnot. And That all being said, support all wrestling. Watch WWE, AEW, TNA, everything. But
Absolutely.
also keep your eye out for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling and support that because some big things are coming up and D'Lo's involved with that. Thank you again. I appreciate it. This was fun. I had a great time. This is awesome.
The pleasure is all mine. Let's do it again.
Thank you very much, everyone. Keep doing the thing. We'll see you all later.
It's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.